Dear students, let us begin with the third part of the lesson on India and Indo-Pacific, in which we will discuss about India as a part of Quad. The Quad, officially known as the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, comprises 4 countries: the United States, Australia, India and Japan. Maritime cooperation among these nations initially began after the tsunami in 2004. Today, these countries, all democracies with vibrant economies, collaborate on a much broader agenda that includes addressing security, economic and health issues. The Quad was initially initiated in 2007 by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and was discontinued after the withdrawal of Australia under then Prime Minister Kevin Rudd. This revival took place at a meeting of senior diplomats from the 4 nations on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit in Manila in November 2017. This led to parallel commitments by the Quad countries to maintain a free and open order in the Indo-Pacific region. The Indo-Pacific construct reflects a significant increase in activity along the sea lanes of communication that link the 2 oceanic regions in trade and energy. This increase in activity is partly strategic because greater interdependence also brings greater vulnerability and risk. Over the years, the Quad's diplomacy has experienced periods of waxing and waning. It is a loose grouping rather than a formal alliance. Japan initially emphasized the democratic identity of the 4 nations, while India seemed more comfortable emphasizing functional cooperation. Australian leaders have been reluctant to create the impression that the group is a formal alliance. 2 implicit ideas are embedded in this values-based framing. The first idea pertains to China and the second is related to India. Firstly, despite assertions from the White House that the term "certainly not" represents an effort to contain China's influence, it is evident that the Indo-Pacific construct is a response to perceptions that China is deploying infrastructure development and investments in the region for geopolitical gain. There is a concern that Beijing is not committed to a rules-based international order, particularly in the maritime domain. Secondly, unlike the term Asia-Pacific, Indo-Pacific explicitly includes a rising India, whose significance to the future balance of power in Asia is evident. India's democratic credentials and commitment to a rules-based order provide reassurance to Washington, Tokyo and Canberra. As a senior official in the Trump administration stated, "We use the term Indo-Pacific because it underscores the importance of India's ascent." External recognition of India's growing influence and the expectation of its cooperation in upholding freedom of navigation and overflight at sea. A significant aspect of India's rise has been its maritime orientation, with the 2015 Maritime Security Strategy emphasizing the connection between secure seas and India's resurgence in the 21st century. The current Indian government, perhaps even more so than its predecessors, places significant value on India's relationship with ASEAN member states through its Act East policy. This emphasis clarifies why the Indian government's press release following the Manila meeting in November 2017 refrained from mentioning a quadrilateral, a distinction from the United States and Australian statements. Additionally, it omitted specific references to principles like freedom of navigation and overflight, respect for international law or maritime security, even though New Delhi had frequently expressed support for these principles in the past. The press release underscored that Act East remains the cornerstone of the Indian government's engagement in the Indo-Pacific region. Beyond this diplomatic inhibition, there exists a more fundamental issue, that is, India's own concept of its maritime interest and strategy may not align with the expectations of other Quad members. Let us summarize what we have discussed so far in this lesson. India's position on the Indo-Pacific region was clear, with a call for the embrace of freedom of navigation and overflight, respect for territorial integrity, and the recognition of all nations regardless of their size. Narendra Modi emphasized that we will promote a democratic and rules-based international order in which all nations, small and large, count as equal and sovereign. We will work with others to keep our seas, space and airways free and open. He expressed the importance of a free, open and transparent Indo-Pacific grounded in respect for international maritime laws. India's association with the Quad enhances the spirit of inclusivity in the region. Importantly, India's approach to the Quad should not be construed as an anti-China proposition. India is aligning with like-minded countries without forming a formal alliance. All three Quad member countries anticipate India to play a constructive and pivotal role in shaping the Quad's future. India's advocacy of security and growth for all in the region underscores the principles of universalism and inclusivity. India as a reliable security provider and actively engaged in various initiatives such as IONS, Milan, IORA and Malabar has consistently shown respect for the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. To enhance its credibility and profile as a security provider, India should focus on advocating for combating threats originating from both sea and land, with an emphasis on fostering peace in the Indo-Pacific region through responsible and proactive interventions. I hope you understood what we discussed about India's role in Indo-Pacific. We have concluded our lesson. Thank you.